Hi guys, this is Alex. We're going to do a quick video of how to teach the down, stay, or place command. They're taught in a similar fashion. Normally I don't do obedience videos, but a lot of people are asking for very simple obedience videos, not complex. This is not advanced obedience, this is simple obedience. We're not going to see a whole bunch of fancy footwork or focus healing. We're just going to teach the basics in this video, how to teach the down, stay. Now, this video is an intro to what you're about to see. Couple of quick points I want to make, and then we're going to go right into the video. The first thing you need to understand is that for the dog to learn any command or any behavior, you must understand how to teach the animal at its level of understanding, not a human level of understanding. So the behavior you're asking of the animal must be crystal clear in the animal's mind. It must not misunderstand in the slightest what you're asking of it. Don't make a lot of conversation and extraneous words. Don't speak to the animal with all this baby talk. Yes, baby, please go. Just the command and the behavior and the consequence. Not a lot of extra conversation. Number one. Number two, animals don't learn a complex behavior all at once. For example, if you're teaching a dog to come to you, you're not going to teach it 40 feet away and then it runs to you. You're going to teach it at a short distance from you, and then you're going to gradually increase the distance. Or if you're going to teach the come and then to go into the finish on your left side, the finish is taught separately and the come is taught separately. So when you're teaching an animal, you're teaching it a small progression of behaviors that are then chained together to form the entire behavior pattern. You're not teaching the behaviors as a whole. You're teaching a small piece of the overall behavior chain, and then you're going to string individual behaviors which you're taught as micro lessons. And you're going to take each behavior that you've taught individually and you're going to piece them together so that the whole behavior is established. Now, another thing I want to explain to you is there's something called teaching in drive and out of drive obedience. This is not a motion exercise. This is a stationary exercise. So we don't want the dog in high drive. We want the dog calm and collected. We're looking for a dog to be excited like it is in healing. In healing, you want a dog in a higher state of arousal. In a down stay, you want the dog to be in a calm state of mind. For this particular dog, toys and play are her high level reward. Food is her low level reward. So by using food, we're using a lower level reward compared to a prey drive reward, such as a bite pillow or a biting a bite toy. So for this particular dog, play and prey are her highest level of reward. We're keeping the dog at a non-excited state by using a lower level of reward, in this case, food. Now, what are the prerequisites before you see what you see on the screen? The prerequisites are that the dog knows how to focus on you. If the dog doesn't want what you have and doesn't care to be there and would rather do something else, that dog is not going to listen to you. So that's prerequisite number one. Prerequisite number two is the down command was taught in a quiet place, not in a park, in the home, in the kitchen, or in your basement, wherever you have room. First, separately, the park, because of its sheer space, even if there are no people around or people on bicycles moving around, acts as a distraction. So the first thing I want you to understand is dogs don't generalize. So if you taught a dog the down command or the sit command in your kitchen, and then you take it to a park and you give it the down or a sit command, it doesn't understand what you're saying. It thinks sit or down is where it was taught, in your kitchen. The moment you take the dog to a park and ask it to sit or down, it thinks, what are you asking me? I have no idea what you're saying. And that may sound strange to you, but to a dog, that command is in that context. If you take a dog out of your kitchen into the park, and now there's distractions around it, the dog does not understand what you're asking, even though it's been shown that command 40, 50 times in your kitchen, and you have a 80, 90% success rate that the dog will follow what you asked of it. Now you take that same dog with an 80, 90% success rate and you put it in the park where there are birds around, squirrels, trees, just the sheer size of the space. All of a sudden, the dog is like, I don't know what you're asking me. It's not because the dog doesn't want to please you. The dog doesn't understand what you want. So every time you teach a behavior, whether it's a sit or a down, you must then generalize the behavior by taking the dog to many locations and show the exact same behavior over and over in multiple locations. You must also introduce distractions to distraction proof your dog. So initially, the dog is taught the behavior in a sterile environment without distractions. By taking the dog to the park, now you've added a high degree of distractions. And that is what you're doing. You're proofing the dog and you're generalizing the behavior. Now, you're going to see me use a prong collar and a long line as tools in this exercise. The reason for the prong collar is because the dog has been shown the behavior 40 to 50 times or more prior to this. So you're not seeing all that led up to this little video. You've seen the dog only for that moment in the park, but you're not seeing all the precursor work that was done earlier. It is unfair to correct a dog which doesn't understand what you want. In the earlier collar method, you'll see some people step on a leash and push the dog's neck down, forcing it into a down with a prong correction. We're not giving a correction to force it into the down. We're luring into the down using food and only giving a correction if it breaks the down stay. So we're not using the correction to teach the behavior. We're using the correction if it breaks the behavior. That's the second thing I want you to notice. The first thing I want you to notice, the dog is paying attention to me. She's hungry and she wants to learn. So engagement is always first. Understanding and teaching is always second. Generalizing is always third. It's not all at once you're teaching the dog in a park how to do a downstay. Furthermore, the dog has been conditioned to be on a wooden platform as part of teaching the exercise. Why a wooden platform? Well, if it's been conditioned to do a down or a sit on a wooden platform in the house, that same object now taken to a park gives the dog a frame of reference that this object I'm familiar with, I know what he's asking of me. With respect to this object, it helps the dog feel grounded that, oh, I know what he wants. Also, the wooden box, when the dog is doing a sit, it can't be crooked with respect to your body because the wooden rail, so to speak, in the box prevent it from being crooked. Same thing with the down. You want the dog to tuck into the down, not just plop down. So you want a neat, clean down, and the dog must not get up until told to get up and until it's told to be released. So you're going to see three things being done. You're going to see a clicker. I don't know if you'll hear it, but you'll see either me say yes or click to mark when they got the command. You'll hear me say good as a duration marker. Good, good, you're doing good. And then you'll see me say break or free when the dog is released from command. You must have a release command, a duration command, and a marker command. So all these little details may not be obvious to you as you watch the video, but I'm giving this little intro to help you follow along what you'll see. Another thing I want you to focus on in the video is distance and duration. If I want the dog to hold the down stay for 30 seconds or 40 seconds before it breaks, I cut the distance to 3 feet. But if I want to increase the distance to 10 feet, because I'm using a long line in case the dog breaks, I still have the dog on a leash. But if I want the dog to be now 10 feet and hold the down stay, I've increased distance, but I've cut duration. In other words, the dog will hold the down for 10 seconds, but I'm 10 feet away. But the dog will hold it down for 30 or 40 seconds if I'm only 3 feet away. So in other words, you don't do both. You don't add duration and distance at the same time. You add distance, but you cut duration, or you add duration, but you cut distance. That's the thing I want you to observe in this video. So you're going to see positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, marker training. You're going to see consequence for breaking the command, which a dog already understands. You're going to see a platform being used, and you're going to see a dog which wants to learn. We break the exercise by playing and then returning the dog back to the platform and continuing. We don't keep drilling. We release the dog, make it play, make it happy, then we go back to the exercise. You're going to see teach, release, play, back to the exercise. Teach, release, play, back to the exercise. All these things may not be obvious as you're watching the video, but I wanted to make this brief intro. And without further ado, let's watch Bella as she learns. This is not a fully trained dog. This is just a puppy. We're teaching the idea. Okay? Thank you guys. Hope you enjoy it. Lots. I'm getting tangled. Good. Lots. Lots. Good. Lots. Good. Lots. Lots. Good. Lots. Free! Yeah! Good. Free. Good job. Good job. Okay. Bella. Bella. Lots. Good. Lots. Good. Lots. That's a good lots. That's a good lots. We're increasing duration and distance. That's what we're doing. Lots. Good. Lots. 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 Good. Lots. That's good. Lots.
На нее мошки садятся. Саша. Мошки.
Lots. Lots. Good. Lots. Notice I decreased the distance. Here! I have a long line in case she breaks. She goes back where she's rewarded. See where she goes back? Where she receives rewards. Plots. Plots. She goes back to where she gets the highest degree of reward. See what she did?
Yeah.
Good. Lots. I'm going to back up as I run, okay? Here! She had enough.